Okay.
During your career, have people changed any from the Gen Xers to the millennials and everything else? When they come in there, is everybody having the same human life experience, or are these folks different and crazy?
Well, what I believe is very different. So I think the greatest gift of my life is being dyslexic. So I don't look at scenarios the same way as other people.
Ooh.
So what most people say is the next generation is the worst generation. I say it's the absolute best generation we're going to ever have, and it's because it's taking the qualities and characteristics from all of us, and they really care.
Yeah.
They have owned this choice thing. They know they have a choice. They have a choice on their gender. They have a choice on who they date. They had a choice on whether they can have a baby or not, but that's taken.
Yeah.
But they are really speaking on it.
Yeah.
So they really embody working for corporations and places where they can bring meaning. What I find most of the time is that the older individuals, we want the younger generation to be just like us, but they didn't have the same things. So when we were coming up, we literally kind of started off with radio. We had the color TV, black and white. Then we went to color, and then we got to the video.
Stuff come and go now.
You know, we've seen the 8-track to the we've seen all
records,
of this,
CDs,
and some of those things they haven't seen at all, and we're mad at them because they didn't see them. So like, what can you tell me? You've never seen an 8-track. Well, why do I need to have to see an 8-track to know you? So the bottom line is that people all want 3 things. They want to be seen, heard, and understood.
That's right.
All right. So people want influence. People want control, and they want affection. Affection is one of the most important things that anyone. That's the thing. People always say, "I don't need nobody," and all these self-made people, especially self-made.
There's been a lot of conversation lately too.
Especially these
TD
self-made
Jakes
women.
was just speaking of that.
Yeah.
You're not self-made. You didn't come here. How did you get here? Like the last I checked, even the aliens, they coming with somebody.
Right.
They didn't just fall down. You don't see somebody driving that thing when they hop
That's
out of
right.
it. So nobody is self-made. So we all need connection.
That's right. That's right. As a businesswoman, how did you get your business off the ground? And then also, what were some of the things that you had to pick up to sharpen your toolkit to allow you to be a successful businesswoman in this competitive city right here?
Yeah, so that's probably the toughest part. The toughest part was learning. It was learning that the reason why my brand is Dr. Cherry and not Cherry is because men couldn't handle my name. And so I would go for a meeting with the chief executive officer of some company, and he's like turning red because I'm saying my name is Cherry. I'm like, okay, so you can't handle my name because you probably were watching porn last night or something, you know.
It's really Cherry.
That's my name, and I'm a 3rd generation, Cherry.
Yeah.
Technically, I'm a junior. My mother's name was Cherry as well, but it's like, okay,
female junior.
Right.
That's something.
So I had to learn also that a lot of times men wanted more than I was willing to offer, right? Because I'm not that chick.
Exactly.
Right, so I'm real selective about what's going to come inside of me because that's energy. So it was tough starting to understand, but also the thing is recognizing as a businesswoman that other women have always been there to support me. And at the end of the day, when I really look back, because who's been the most successful and most helpful for me, it's been Black men. So I had, some outliers who were teasing me.
You hear that, brothers?
But the most successful people, I mean, like I came from Southwest Atlanta, so Dr. Bland, Dr. Golden, early on, they were kind of prepping me. My godfather is Senator Arthur Langford, and I have a picture with me and Hosea Williams. I used to every Saturday go out and march for the rights So I
Been putting in work.
he was just, I mean, so a lot of
Wow.
people, Dr. Roosevelt Thomas, Dr. Jim Rogers, like so many people, and most of them, had doctors in front of their names, or Dr. Kenneth Days, Dr. Golden. I said Dr. Golden, I mean Dr. Gully, Samuel Gully. All these people cared about me, this little black girl in the community. And so those people were the people who helped me to point me in the right direction. And I have Denise Porcher and Sean Emmons, their father, Mr. Porcher. When I first started my business, he gave me, this is how you determine your rate. You got to add this up and do this right here. These people I can just call anytime. And at first, I was a know-it-all, and that's what my book Move Out of Your Own Way was. So probably the reason why I don't see people as difficult is because I was difficult, right? So I have evolved, and Move Out of Your Own Way was my evolution and my path to you can't be a know-it-all. Because if you already know everything, it's probably time for you to die.
Cool.
And I'm not ready to go.
Yeah, that's real. I feel you on that. Yeah.
So when people are trying to talk to you, listen. And so probably one person like Tommy Dortch, and a lot of people in the city know him, he really helped me with my business over all of these years. And so it's starting to recognize that it doesn't matter the age of the people are there to help you. And if you go like you got something on your shoulders, then people aren't going to help you. And what I used to do a lot of times, Behi, and was tell people stuff. Like I would just walk in, and at no point was I listening to them. And so
Around what time of your career was that happening? Would you say in the 90s?
Before, in the
Okay,
90s. So
okay.
in 2004, when I wrote Move Out of Your Own Way, I started to shut up and listen. Just shut up and listen. And it doesn't matter if I have a better solution. It really doesn't. Because what I really want is that connection. And I want to be able to listen to what other people have. Because if you are always talking, you're going to miss what they say. And what they're saying is something that you can write down and probably take to the bank later. But if you're only listening to yourself, which I can do at home, all right? It's like, just shut up. Like, just be quiet.
Which is why which is the reason why this is one of the hottest podcasts right now.
listen.
Because I'm going to tell you, I read the comments and everybody say, man, Beehive really let people get it off their chest. I've seen certain people who just cut people off right before they're about to get into something real serious. And
that's
change the
narcissism.
subject. Yeah, I love how
And they want it to be all about them, but at the end of the day, folks want to talk. You got to listen.
Yes.
And then also you got to listen so you can probe and figure out what's really going on, what they're really trying to say, because the first thing that people say might not be exactly what they meant.
Yeah, you got to let them get into it. Yeah,
You see what I'm
you're right.
saying?
You're right.
But my other thing is, Toom, I'm so glad you brought Dr. Cherry in here today, because I've cleared up a lot of stuff in my mind during this conversation as well.
Okay.
When you started making the money, doctor, how was that navigating that new world when you thinking to yourself, okay, this business is booming,
Right.
and now I got to handle my taxes?
Oh, yeah. So I've always had a great tax person. And so what I love is my tax person is right on Campbellton Road. Campbellton Road. So
That's
I
right.
live right in Southwest Atlanta, District 11. Shout out to my sister, Marcy Collier, Overstreet.
Yeah.
So
Marcy.
yes, I always shout out to my sister. My big sister is she is one of my favorite. She's literally one of my favorite people, and I know I'm not answering the question directly, but let me talk about my sister.
I'm with you.
Because when you're a little girls always want to hang out with their sisters. And when people go through different stages and different phases, most of the time they won't take their sisters with them. My sister would take me anywhere she went. She would dress me up.
Yeah.
She would take me out. And if her friends gave her resistance, she's like, oh, it's okay. You don't have to go. Because she's going.
Yeah.
And
That's
and
hard.
all of those things gave me permission to just ultimately be myself. Just to know that it didn't matter. My sister is going to always have my back, and I don't want to get into my mom and dad. I just came from support.
Yeah.
So my whole village has always done that. But the biggest thing about when you start to have a business, you start to think differently. And a lot of people talk about savings, and I know savings is extremely important, and it is. And I don't want people to take this the wrong way. But when you do have a business, you do have to spend because you have to spend money on your business. You have to invest in yourself, and those things you can write off. But if you save it, you're going to have it for later. That's going to be great. But you're not going to have the investment that you need right now, and you're not going to have that deduction. So my CPA from Regina Page, she was having a conversation. Shout out to Regina. We were having a conversation because I like to pay. I still want to pay everything in cash. I'm like, I don't want to have a balance. And she's like, no, you have to use their money. Yeah. You have to use their money, and you need, because you can't get any. Cash is finite. So the more money that you make, and I've been proud that we've been able to have a multi-million-dollar business and do this thing.
That's right.
Like it's a dream, and it doesn't feel like hard work. It doesn't feel like hard work. It feels fabulous. I have lost a lot of friends though in the process, and I'll be honest with that. I've had people who didn't show up for me the way that I wanted them to. That happens. But at the same time, I've had one more shout out I got to give, the baby sister, Dr. Nicole Harp, my rock. She came on 10 years ago, has never left my side, is like a part of the brains behind the operation and been very supportive. And I brought on Dr. Tanja Freeman and Dr. Kimberly Hart. And so we have 4 black female PhDs from the University of Georgia working in the firm. And I grew up with Hamilton Holmes. And so Hamilton Holmes' father was very instrumental in who I was. He integrated, him along with Charlene integrated the University of Georgia. And so I never knew that success wasn't an option for me.
Come on now.
Which is why I'm so determined to make sure that other people recognize that I don't care when you learn it, you can still be successful. And having the right people on your team really matters. And so people have to be willing to say what they mean and do what they mean. And the millions are going to come, right? And the moments are going to come. But what's most important is that you have meaning and you know that the work that you're doing matters.
Losing all of those friends on the way to those M's, though. Right. I mean, how did that make you feel? Because, I mean, you come up with these people and now they're nowhere to be found.
But the thing is actually I didn't lose my friends until I had the millions, right? So it's not that I really lost them. It's just that they did things for the company that just kind of hurt me. It's like she got the money, so she can maybe she can afford it. I don't know what happens. Or,
shit happens.
People are saying, I can't, you're doing great. I can't help you. What does that mean? Just do these things or talk to me, communicate with me. Like, you wouldn't do that if you're working in a majority firm. Like, right? If it was a primarily white majority firm, you would not treat them the way you treated me.
And you shouldn't have to tell them that either.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And so you're saying you're not good enough to work for me, but you were good enough to work for them, and you didn't want to carve your own job description out for me. And I'm paying you the same money that the other person paid you. Right. So that's some of the pain points that you have in business, because you have to really learn that business isn't personal, but it is. Yeah. It is personal because the work that we do is holistic, and I don't separate life from work. I want to show up. If you see me somewhere, I'm going to show up the same way tomorrow that I'm showing up today. Only difference is you'll say, darn, is she introverted a little bit? I am. Yeah.
Wow. Being a woman in business, though, I know you talked about earlier having to deal with sexism, trying to make it do what it's supposed to. I know a lot of females that try to get into business and they want to do things, but at every turn when they go to meet with somebody, they're trying to have sex with them.
They are.
God, that's from real estate.
Come on.
Film to music. Yeah. Y'all go through here.
How did you get around that?
Yeah, and I think,
what advice do you is? That's why I say I'm to myself in my mind.
Yeah.
We gonna get back on that part of the conversation because that's some BS. Yeah. Okay, so how did you achieve and thrive in those shark-infested waters?
Right. So what you have to do is roll with the resistance, and you also have to have a supportive partner. And so my and for me, my partner's male. And so you have to tell your male, hey, I'm going out here, this is where I'm going to be, and so that nobody is confused. But you also got to know, I'm not doing anything. This is it. I'm going to be as nice as I need to be around everybody, but my end goal is just to be your friend. And I'm going to communicate. I'm going to communicate like with that. And so I've had a friend since I was a little bitty girl, Marvin McIntyre, Marvelous.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and so with Marvin, way back in the day, I'm a huge New Edition fan. Like, I mean, who wasn't? And I'm also a Johnny Gill fan. And so when I used to go backstage to get the pictures with them, sometimes I would have to go up to their room, and Marvin and then Tim, rest in peace, Tim, they would take me up to the
Tim
room.
Melkor?
Yeah.
Big Tim.
Big
Wow.
Tim. They would take me up to the room, but they would be very clear, she's not that girl, right? She's not that one.
That's right.
And so you have to also have people in your place. Like, she here to take a picture.
Yeah.
So, Bobby, Ricky, Johnny, she's taking a picture with you, and then they would escort me out and tell me to have, a good night.
That's right.
And so you
Let
always
the groupies in.
like she's gone. When
After she leaves.
after I leave, like let other people in. So being a woman in business, I think that you have to. It's different. It's different, and we can't underestimate the power of sex, right? So sex is important to everything that you do, and if people really understood the way sex is intended to work, when you're with your partner and your divine mate, you're able to be even more successful. Like, you can make more millions being devoted to that because you're not out chasing all this other stuff. So it's just sometimes some business I just don't go after. If I feel like it's going to cross a boundary, it's going to be a little bit too uncomfortable for me, I'm not going to do it.
I don't blame you.
But I don't feel that I have ever not been able to get a chance, because what I figure out is how to roll with the resistance and send somebody else in or do something else.
Awesome.
Okay.